discuss, this is something I've been wanting to discuss on my channel, maybe this is the time. Do you remember when that theft happened at Paul's house, when they stole the gold? It was
and then they made an article about it in the Rolling Stones magazine.
I think I'm going to show you guys a clip of that and show you it actually happened. It was Paul's sons who stole the gold in his basement. And that's the first time I had heard that Paul had money. Like, I always had this picture in my mind that Paul was this humble guy that didn't have a lot of money, and he was making sure that the money was getting dispersed through the order. Paul had gold in his basement. What was the point of that? I mean,
I don't have gold in my basement.
Me neither.
I mean, I have some necklaces. One gold necklace.
The gold thing, okay? I'm just gonna, one more second of that, and then I'll drop it, okay? The biggest thing that surprised me was Paul and his wife, first wife, called the police because someone stole the gold in their basement, right? And then the police were like, why do you have that much gold in your basement? You remember hearing this story? And then they never called back. They never contacted the police after that. And they just left it be. And then what I heard is that Paul told his sons, you can come back to the order. If you bring back my gold, we'll pretend like nothing happened, and I'll forgive you. And then the son was like, frick you, no. And he kept the gold.
Well, they got caught, though.
No, the second time, it happened twice, Kollene.
It happened twice?
Yeah, the second time they got caught, it was different kids. It wasn't Paul's kids.
That's the one I heard about.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the first
Paul's
one.
kids, they left and they never went back to the order. They left with that gold. And that one was the one in the Rolling Stones. But the second time someone tried to steal, they kept going back for the gold, which they could have got away with it if they weren't being greedy. But they went back over and over, got caught.
There was that much gold?
There was so much, you guys. This is the thing, too. Like, they don't talk about it in the order. Why did Paul have that much gold in his basement? Another thing, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious now. He has a really nice house now. He has a pool indoors, which they say is because they need to baptize people, right?
What? Does everyone get baptized in that pool? Because I got baptized in dirty water.
Me too. We should show a clip of that. I don't know. I don't know if they really actually use that for baptizing.
So that's like another way to just kind of like make you know your place in the order, where we get to get baptized in pure water and you get to get baptized in river water.
In dirty water. I remember my baptism. I was like, why is this water so cold? We all got hypothermia.
With my baptism, I literally actually think it kind of like cleansed away my sins. I don't know.
I remember believing that, and I remember feeling so guilty when I was like stole a cookie or something afterwards, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is permanent.
I felt guilty for calling Gerald stupid and telling him to shut up because he was teasing me right after my baptism.
Because they teach you that yes, your sins are washed away, but then after that, your sins are like a nail getting hammered into the wall. When you ask for forgiveness, they take the nail out, but there's still the hole in the wall. Did you hear that analogy in the order?
I have, yeah.
So it basically makes you feel guilty for everything you do. But anyways, so I remember eating rotten food and getting sick. I remember as I was a teacher, my little sister got sick as she was eating the food.
When you were a teacher, we weren't the cooks anymore.
Right. It was Paul's wife. It was Paul's wife that was doing the cooking. But I remember when I was a TA, they were force feeding the kids still. But I would take the trays of my students that were sick, and I would go flush it down the toilet. And I got in trouble for flushing these kids' food down the toilet when they were sick. So,
they were sick. Well, the food is like...
It just depends on the day. It depends on what the cook makes.
Well, when you say it depends on the day, it's because, like, well, is the fruit rotten? Is the food rotten? I don't know.
Yeah. And I did watch kids, like, get so sick that they had to go home. But they would still force feed the kids. So it's like, it's just such a weird system. Here's another thing. When I worked there, when they had the state come and check on the school, they would send home half of the kids, half of the teachers who didn't have their certificate to be teaching, and then the state would come and look through and make sure that everything was up to code. Do you remember that?
I do remember taking like the test to go to the next grade or whatever, and like they were like, don't talk to them.
Yeah, they were super weird about outsiders coming into their place, which I don't think the state should let them know when they're checking on them. I don't know why they're letting them know.
Well,
they should just
because
show
they
up.
have to get to the next grade. Like, you gotta pass grade.
They do test higher than public schools.
Really?
Yeah.
Some of us are geniuses.
But they ripped out some of the history books. Like, I didn't even know about, like, they didn't teach evolution.
So when anyone asked us that was outside of the order if we happened to be talking to them, even though we weren't supposed to be, then, okay, I'll just do a story. Okay, so my mom pulled us out and put us in public school. One of my friends asked me, like, what my religion was and what I believed and whatever, and they taught us to lie. And I accidentally said order school to her, like, that I went to the order school. And then I, like, paused and I was like, I mean the other school? And she was like, what's your beliefs? And I'm like, I'm LDS. And she said, like, what ward did you go to? And then I'm like, what's that?
Exactly. I had the same thing happen because my mom was like, just tell them you're Mormon. And then when I tell them I'm Mormon, they're like, what stake are you? And I was like, I eat steak. That's good. I also, too, like, I remember them asking what school I went to before I came to public school. And I said Ensign Learning Center. And they were like, who is your teachers? This is legit. Like, the kid thought that we went to class together. So he's like, who's your teacher? I think we were in the same class. And I was like, Sister and they're like, did you go to Catholic school? And I was like, what's a Catholic? So they did not prepare me for public school enough. So eventually my mom started to say, just say you're a Christian or a born again Christian.
Oh yeah, Sister Amanda. Were you called Sister Amanda a lot?
Yeah. When I was a teacher, they called me Sister Amanda.
I was Sister Kollene. We're all brothers and sisters here.
It's so weird that they call each other Mr. and Mrs. because I never was used to that lingo.
Right.
I still am not used to that. When people come over to your parents' house and call your parents Mr. and Mrs. No, like, that's weird.
I once got confused and I called my public school teacher sister and then her name and she's like, yes.
So we're probably the only ones that say sister first name and brother first name because in the LDS it's Eskel is brother Grant or elder Grant, right? That's weird. So we just say like Sister Kollene and Sister Amanda. That's wow. Wait,
what a trip
I
to hear that again. Sister Amanda.
I was hearing that all day, every day. Sister Amanda.
Sister Amanda.
Sister Amanda. Like, shut up! No, I love being a TA.
Why did I say
You're
the one that said it.
That's one. Have you noticed that's one thing older people say?
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
All
just kidding,
the time.
Because you're always so scared of like repercussions. So you
Now
have to
it's
say
just the way we talk.
I'm sorry, just kidding. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Remember when we were talking to Priscilla and she said that that's one thing that she missed about the order in a weird way is that they had everything picked out for her so she didn't have to make a single decision. And then when you get in the real world, it's so hard making decisions.
it's so stressful.
But it's because they become so conditioned to be so used to someone else telling them and tying back into the one above another. So everyone just lives where they're supposed to live. They work where they're supposed to work. They pay rent to who they're supposed to pay rent to. They don't know the laws. They don't know their rights. They don't know they have rights. So, which is why me and Kollene are here today.
You never own your own properties. They always just end up, everything's the orders.
Every order member is not allowed, basically. It's the, remember how we had to sign those forms?
The only thing they let us have is a car.
But you still have to sign your inventory form saying that it's theirs.
Yeah,
and the
you have to
title
sign it.
usually
That's
is theirs
true.
too.
Oh, really?
From what I remember, said that they had the room of the titles in the office.
I never had a car in the order, so
Okay,
I don't know.
So they, at least either it's a copy of the title or the actual title, but a lot of the times when they buy a car, then the office would request a copy of it in the inventory. But that I never necessarily owned my own car as well, so I don't know how the whole process goes. All I know is when I signed my inventory every year, I had to write down everything of value and sign it over to the order so that I could be a good order member. Because if you don't sign your 10% form and your inventory form, you're not an order member. Because that's the number one rule is consecration. All of your incomes and outgoings are in the name of the Lord. That's how they get people to just sign their homes over to the order. Because they don't think that they have a place in heaven if they're not giving their all to God.
Trying to get my high school diploma through the online high school.
Should we have him come in?
Gerald!
Want to sit down?
Oh!
So this is Gerald. Do you want to be introduced as Gerald or Val? Or do you care?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. This is Gerald. This is Collene's older brother.
Order people are controlled by guilt. It's funny because now you can't guilt me. Because you try to guilt me, and it's like, oh, you're new.
You must be new.
You must be
It
new.
doesn't work on me anymore.
Where are we at? We've been filming for 50 minutes.
Okay, hold on.
When's the school
We
starting?
just keep getting distracted.
Okay.
All right. So I actually ended up going back to work as a TA, a science teacher, when I was married. Yes.
Okay.
It lasted for like 2 weeks. They fired me because I had earrings. Paul said, you need to not have Kollene as a teacher because she has earrings.
You know, it's funny though, Paul's daughters were teachers and they had earrings. And I went up to them and I was like, how are you getting away with that? Because they're making me take mine out. And they're like, I'll just do what I want. I'm like, okay, it's because you're Paul's kid. Obviously.
While I was a teacher, I had a little brother that actually injured himself during PE class. He
Fell off the building. Scaled the building
Basically.
and fell off.
Was he climbing the building?
Yeah.
And
It
then
wasn't
he
just
fell?
him. So they were all scaling like the garage door in like the P, but it's really tall. So like it basically fell off the building if you get the top. But they were scaling the top and they had like mats, like those exercise mats. They all stacked on. They would get up there and then fall. He missed the mat.
Oh no.
So he got a concussion.
Oh my god.
He didn't even know who he was. He didn't know who I was. Didn't know who Gerald was. Didn't know who Mom was. And they made him wait in the office.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They didn't call.
They didn't call. They called Daniel or whatever. But like
It
everyone.
wasn't as like bad issue.
No,
I mean,
that's
it was
bad.
bad,
That is
but like
bad. He couldn't.
you're like they
Dude.
tried. Mom actually, when she was told about it, she was on her way.
Why didn't the school call an ambulance though?
Isn't that protocol if they're
You got to call the dad first, and then like why is it when this kid is foaming at the mouth and doesn't remember his name, doesn't know anything? Why are you not? Why are you
Making
not
him
calling for help? You're just like, what if he just died in your care? You know what I mean? Like it could have gone so much worse than it did.
Because we did end up getting him into the hospital. Then he didn't remember falling. He just remembered waking up in the hospital.
Oh my god.
So
Well, what had happened was Mom took him to go see Daniel, and then Daniel was like, "Oh, fell just like this," and he ended up fine. He ended up being fine,
oh yeah, that's right.
and we all were like, "Retarded." We went back to Mom's house, like he was laying on the couch screaming and like in agony. I couldn't take it anymore, so I called some police, and they showed up with an ambulance. I told them what had happened, and they wasn't giving any care to my little brother. And the way the church works is you're not supposed to go to doctors and hospitals and police and all that. And I made an anonymous call, and so they showed up, and they forced Nicholas to go to the hospital. And then we found out that he had bleeding on the brain,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
was bad. They wouldn't let him sleep. Like it was actually a lot worse than Daniel was saying.
Right. you
Daniel
could've
don't know
done-
nothing.
Right.
After that, they took the X-ray, and then they made an example of it at the school or whatever.
What do you mean?
In the classes.
To not do that.
Don't
Oh.
do this, or you're gonna break your head. It wasn't until I called anonymously to say someone needs to help this kid and get him to a hospital.
Good thing you called.
Yeah, Mom didn't know it was me until like while she was there.
After she was able to be more thankful that somebody did
Yeah.
something.
Those anti-learning center,
Or Mom's house for a second. I
that
don't
playground
remember.
was so dangerous. Do you remember jumping
It
and
was
trying
just
to grab
cement
the?
strip.
Yeah, there was cement. There was a point where there was no protection.
Yeah, there wasn't.
It was just
a
cement.
parking lot.
Yeah, it was a parking lot with one slide. It was
one slide.
which I swear every kid has a memory.
And
of
all those
falling off that
rocks.
slide. Yeah, the rocks, and then monkey bars, and then just concrete. And I can't tell you how many times I fell and hit my head, and I like woke up. Then finally they got mats, and then even the slide, there was no railing at first until kids started falling off the slide onto the concrete. So they had to put railing on it. Like, oh my gosh.
It's definitely not a safe environment.
Yeah,
I mean,
wanted.
it might be better now. I don't know how many inspectors they had coming over.
Oh, no.
but
Like,
I don't know.
they
That's
get- they
sad,
pepper bone.
though.
It's
Like,
way sad.
I don't even want to talk about that because it's just really sad.
And obviously, most of our viewers already know that they mistreat people who are handicapped.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like you think that if they're mistreating us, they're definitely mistreating handicapped. I didn't know that they locked up. That's so sad.
Well,
She was
also,
locked in a basement. She kind of had her own little area.
yeah, it
But
was
she
so.
wasn't allowed to leave.
You know what was really weird was like when we made chicken soup, then we put the bones, we separated, right? And then she comes in, well, because she helped us clean and stuff, and she's like, "Can I have some of those bones?" And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, she said the name of the other wife that,
That feeds her bones.
yeah. So she's like, they basically give me bones so I can pick up and eat. And I'm like,
That's so
then like you don't want
sad.
actually, you
said
can
a few
actually
weird
have a
things.
piece of meat.
It's sad because if you are mentally disabled or if there's anything wrong, if you're handicapped, if you're a woman, they're still gonna marry you off and try to make you have kids. They
Oh,
try-
Oh,
She
she
has.
has a
Mhm.
kid.
Yeah, she had.
yeah.
That was-
Comfrey
Yeah.
is such a big deal to me now because I did my research and comfrey causes cancer.
Well, it's bad for your liver.
Yeah.
You can. It's actually good if you do it as a tea, but the little slivers are actually really bad, and it doesn't exactly cause cancer. What it does is it makes rapid cell growth. So if you have any cancerous cells, it's gonna like
Make it worse.
amplify.
And they said that they were doing their research and they don't want to drink it anymore either because it causes liver spots.
Yeah.
My mom has them all over her arm. She doesn't know why, but it's because she's been drinking comfrey every day. And I think there's a link to that and the Ortel dying of cancer. My
Oh, yeah.
grandma died of cancer.
Ortel wasn't very old.
I know he
I
was
just
young.
remember they saved his body because they thought he was going to come back.
I did not.
I mean, I don't remember that. I remember that story.
I remember that story too. It's funny.
They thought he was
And
going to
they-
be resurrected.
They thought he was the second coming of Christ, and it was gonna be all the same, and they left him in a bathtub or a closet or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Why did I not hear that story?
I don't think anyone wants to know that it didn't work.
So they just stopped telling it, I guess?
They've changed it. If you ever went to their Sunday school classes, they have to dissect every freaking thing to like make their belief almost make sense.
It changes too because
Yeah.
people start having questions and they're like, oh, we should probably stop telling that story. She called me and was like, don't you dare go on the news and blasphemize the order. And it's like they're blaming us, but at the end of the day, it's the
order did it.
Yeah, they started all of this. They're doing things illegally. That's why this stuff is happening. So don't get mad at us.
But the people in the order are very loyal from a very young age, regardless of whatever happens.
That's number one.
Because it's God's kingdom and whatever. And if you're not loyal to the order, you're not loyal to God. And so you're going to hell immediately.
Right.
Immediately.
As soon as I left, that was my ticket. We all have tickets.
Oh, what's my number?
603518.
61644D. That's my number.
Wait,
Hey, try to go to John's Market and use my number and see if you can get any food.
Yeah.
Shout out John's Market.
603518. Just put me in debt.
We love your soup and tonic.
I actually do like
I still
soup.
get it. Like, I go there, it's interesting.
I like the raw honey.
You run into people you know, and they'll just act like they don't know you. Or they will stare, like,
Oh, yeah.
really stare.
Yeah,
She enjoyed working at John's Market.
I make my
That's what I
husband
would
go
say.
pick it up.
you did. I've had times where I ran into and we bumped into each other back to back, and then we both turned around. We were at the mall, and we just stared at each other, and she backed away. Like, I don't want your hell on me.
They were having a field trip at Lagoon, and I ran into
Oh.
and then I ran into the teacher, and they were like running from me, and I was like, I'm running after them. And I was just like, hey, I remember you.
We're not
They were
supposed
nice
go
to me,
outside.
but they're not supposed to talk to me, and I was like, oh, no, you're not getting away.